Kubernetes is an enterprise-grade orchestration system. It can not only help you in building and deploying systems using containers, but it also can monitor running containers, watch them running across multiple virtual machines. And if any of the containers are having trouble, running too slow, or maybe they stopped for some reason, Kubernetes can automatically replace those containers with a fresh copy using the original image. And so Kubernetes can keep your container environment healthy without you having to monitor it yourself. Also, Kubernetes can automatically spin up more containers or even more virtual machines if needed, if the load gets to be too much, and then bring those resources back down to save on cost once the load has passed. So in our example here, we're going to just create a small Kubernetes environment, and then in the next video, we'll start to use the environment. We'll take it step by step. So first off, we need to be able to create some nodes or virtual machines for our containers to run on. So we have our code. For example, if we were using Google Cloud, we might use the gcloud command to create a small cluster for our containers to run on. So this would be passed to Kubernetes, which itself is going to be running on some kind of a virtual machine, usually hidden if it's on a cloud deployment. And then this will spin up virtual machines with a container runtime ready to go, like containerd, for example. So in the example we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and we're going to spin up 3 virtual machines that are ready to download and run containers. We're going to use the gcloud command to do this. This is specific to the Google Cloud environment. Each of the different cloud environments has ways to help you automate the setup. So what this instruction is going to do is going to create a cluster. We'll give it a name, utility cluster 1. And it's also going to automatically create 3 of these nodes because that's the default, but we could pass in the number of nodes if we wanted to have more. Typically, you'll see that an odd number of nodes is going to be created so that the different nodes can elect one of themselves to be the main node that's going to control the other nodes, and it's going to run what's called the control plane software, which is all that Kubernetes software. And the other nodes would then just be used to deploy the containers, but wouldn't necessarily be in charge unless the original node crashed for some reason. And then one of the other nodes can take over and get a new node spun up to replace the one that went offline. Once the cluster has been created, we'll see different specs about the cluster that was brought up. And even though the cluster is made up of multiple machines, it has one IP address that we can access it over, and that's really accessing the control plane. Since we're using Google in our example for illustration, if we go over to the Google Cloud Platform and refresh the clusters screen, we'll see that the cluster has been created. It doesn't have any containers running on it yet, but we have created 3 virtual machines or nodes that are ready to run containers for us, and we'll look at how that works in the next video.